Okay, so what if you want to have code that relies on other code that you might not get? And so you need to do two asynchronous operations, meaning you need to get data from one source and get data from another source. Remember last time we simulated that when we were doing it with functional callbacks, we simulated that by pausing for 3 seconds and then pausing for five. Or I don't remember the number of seconds we paused, but we paused for a certain amount of time and then we paused for an additional amount of time once the first operation was complete. Let's say we want to do that here. So one way, what I've done is I brought in our incrementer. So I've hidden the code here so it doesn't distract from what we're doing, but it's just going to print out how many seconds have passed. And then here I've written a function that returns a promise. So the promise that we wrote in the last one resolved hello world after a set amount of time. This will give us a promise that resolves after a set amount of time that we pass it. Because it's a function, the function will return a promise. And because it's a promise, we can do things with that promise. So for example, I could say let promise one equal wait, and then how long would I like to wait? Well, let's do the wait 3 seconds first. And then once it's done, I want to print out the results of promise one. I want to print out this hello world. So after 3 seconds, I want to print out hello world. Once that's done, I want to print out hello world again, an additional 5 seconds later, meaning at the 8 second mark. So I'd say promise one dot then, and then it receives the value hello world and passes it into a function. So I'm going to write that function that accepts value. And because it's only one parameter, I don't need the parentheses. I put them in the last video just for consistency, but you don't need them, so I'm not going to put them anymore. So here I'm going to take the value and I'm going to log it out to the console. Console.log, oh boy, not typing well today. Console.log, and we'll log that value. And let's just save this and make sure it works. Okay, so if we reload, printed out hello world immediately, which means there is some problem with my code. Return a new promise, resolve, reject, take in the number of milliseconds, resolve it after, oh, I apologize. This needs to be wrapped in a function, an anonymous function. So if we save that and we come over, waited 1, 2, 3 seconds, and then it prints out hello world, and then wait 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At this point is when we want to call hello world again. So let's go over here. And you might think that you could just do another promise. So I could say let promise two equal wait 5,000 milliseconds. And then I'll say promise two dot then. And then I'll pass in 5,000 milliseconds. Or sorry, ooh, tongue twisted today. I will take the value and I'll log the value. Okay, so what I've done is I've made a promise, and then once it's done, I'm logging it. Then I made another promise, and once it's done, I'm logging it. This is where we're going to run into a similar issue we ran into with callbacks. So we go 1, 2, 3, hello world, 4, 5, hello world. We actually wanted it 5 minutes, sorry, 5 seconds after the first hello world, not 5 seconds after the start of our program. So if we want to do that, then we need to be able to chain promises together. And that's the amazing thing about then. As long as you return a promise inside of your then statement, then you can keep chaining thens together. So let's come back over here. So on this first promise, I said, wait 3,000 seconds. Once you're done, console.log it. And I'm actually going to make this into a multi-line function by putting curly braces. Boy, typing is not going well today. And I'm going to console.log the value. Then underneath, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the word return, and then I'm going to say wait. And how long do I want to wait? This time I want to wait an additional 5,000 milliseconds. Because it's returning it, I could store that in another promise. Or rather than storing in another promise, at the end of this then, I can tag on another then. So just like you could take a string and uppercase it, and that returned a string, and you could store it in a new variable, but you could also take a string and then uppercase it and then split it, and you could just keep chaining string methods together. As long as your then returns a promise, you can string those together. So right here, I could say dot then and take the second value and console.log the second value. So if we save that, and I'm going to format my code so it looks a little neater. So I'm saying create a promise. Once that promise resolves, log the result, and then create another promise, and then log that result. So if we save this and we come over here, it's waited 1, 2, 3 seconds, hello world, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hello world. And then we were able to create code that ran after a set delay based on another set delay, and we were able to do that using promises.